Hi, Jim Van Zandt here, one of the pastors, Carlisle United Methodist Church with Sermon in 3 Minutes. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been trying to answer one question here at CUMC: what does God expect? And we thought a simple place to go, and the first place we should go, is to the 10 Commandments. And so we've been looking at the commandments over the last 2 weeks, and last week as well for a third in this series. What does God expect? Looking at the 10 expectations God has of us. We learned a lot of things along the way. One is that the first 4 have to do with our relationship with God, and the remaining 6 have to do with our relationship with one another. These are just 10 directives, expectations, instructions about how to live abundant and fulfilling relationships both with God and each other. And so that's how we looked at them. This last week we looked at the final 3 of those commandments, which are pretty simple. Don't steal, don't lie, don't want what others have, and don't compare yourselves to them. Those last 2 are combined together in the commandment about thou shalt not covet. They're pretty straightforward. The one about stealing, naturally, we think is about property. And surely it is about property, but that's not all it's about. Because we can steal other things from people. We can steal time from people. We can steal joy, happiness, hope. We can steal a lot of things from folks once we begin to think about it. It's the prophet Malachi who tells us that we can even steal from God. We steal from God, he says, when we withhold worship, when we withhold our tithes, our gifts, and our offerings to God's work. Now, the commandment about lying, once again, pretty straightforward. We think it has more to do with lying to one another, but there's more involved than simply lying to one another here in this commandment. This commandment also speaks about being sincere to one another. Did you know that there are 2 lists of the 10 Commandments in the Bible? The familiar one is from Exodus, but there's also a second list in Deuteronomy. Now, it's a repeat of the first list, with this one difference in this commandment about thou shalt not lie. And that's the Hebrew word used for lie here can also mean insincere. So I like to say this also includes thou shalt not be insincere. Have you ever been insincere? I know in the church sometimes we're insincere in our worship. We're insincere in our prayers. We're insincere in our singing. So it encompasses more than just the spoken tongue. It also encompasses sincerity. And the 10th commandment is about thou shalt not covet. Well, we shouldn't look at our neighbor's things and covet them in a way that we want to have them ourselves, but nor should we compare ourselves to them as well. That commandment seems a little lame compared to some of the other ones. After all, we're the only one that gets harmed when we do those things, right? Well, yeah, we're the ones that get harmed, but they harm our ability to have relationships with each other because they build walls, animosities, things that can separate us from each other. We're each our own individuals, and comparing ourselves to each other just isn't fair. We're not on level ground on everything. Not everybody has the same gifts, skills, or abilities. And what other people have is what they have. It's not what we have. And so to spend our lives yearning after what they have is wasting the life God has breathed into us. This has been Sermon in 3 Minutes. If you're ever in Carlisle, stop by sometime and hear a full sermon. Be part of the fellowship that we share here. Hope you have a wonderful day.